Story 1, Ups and Downs. I love the freedom to do what I want, when I want, without anyone to interfere with my things. But when you're alone, you're alone. That's the price you pay. Story 2. Here's the revised text ready for Azure Text-to-Speak AI, with corrections for spelling and acronyms, improved punctuation, and without any special characters or links. I am 42 years old. In my 30s, it was awesome. I had a lot of friends with whom I'd spend time and have a blast. My siblings had kids, so I got to do the uncle thing and enjoyed that experience. However, a lot of friends had kids and stopped hanging out. My social circle has shrunk dramatically due to family commitments, careers, moving, and it does get pretty boring. I no longer want to go out and party, but I don't have anyone at home to chill with. There's lots of freedom, but also lots of loneliness as well. Story 3, fine, I guess. I eat what I want, clean when I want, watch whatever I want. I'm also not obligated to go to some places I don't want to. Story 4, 33 and got dumped after 12 years last year. At first, I couldn't see how I could live life without someone at my side, but I'm doing good now. People always kept telling me that I can now do what I want, but we both were always pretty self-sufficient. But now, I can really do whatever I want, whenever I want, without questions asked or getting a weird look from someone. Life goes on. I found new hobbies, got a new job, etc. There are still some dark moments where I get a little sad that I'm alone and got no one to share exciting things with. But hey, there is someone out there for every one of us. Story 5. I am a 34-year-old male, currently single. I am close to the happiest I've ever been. I am in the best shape of my life after dedicating a couple of years to consistent strength training and cardio. I have been improving my professional knowledge and experience rapidly by working on personal projects in my free time, in a way where the benefits of this rapid growth are cascading into my career. I am hoping to evolve that project into a business in the next few years, which is my main personal goal. I am excited to pursue it every day because it feels more like a game than work to me. Furthermore, I love my job and my team at work. I struggle to convince myself to date because I do not enjoy the process and have a hard time finding what I am looking for in a partner. On rare occasions, I feel a little bit lonely, but generally, the loneliest I have felt is spending time with people who do not understand me at all. Being alone is way better than feeling out of place or misunderstood. Story 6. I think a very important distinction is whether people ended up in this situation intentionally or unintentionally. I noticed that people who chose this route are generally very happy, and those that want kids and a wife seem absolutely gutted. Story 7. I am not feeling great. I am pretty depressed. Financially, I am totally fine, even retirement is completely on track. But the realization that I might not get to experience parenthood or family life is hitting pretty hard all of a sudden. Story 8. At the moment, it is kind of dark. I am separated from my significant other and waiting to financially settle. Outside of that mess, it is actually pretty good. Story 9. I keep moving up the ladder in work. I have an abundance of free time and have picked up a bunch of hobbies. I travel 5 to 6 times a year to places that feel like a dream. I can't spend my money fast enough, and it keeps growing exponentially. I have many close friends because I get to see them a lot, basically whenever we have free time. But at the end of the day, I'm lonely and want more out of life. Story 10. Upper 30s. No wife, no more kids. Have a career. Have a house. Have time to myself, but also time with others. I wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't force my values on others either. Story 11. I'm about to go back to school for a major career change starting this fall. It will take about 3 years, and I can say without any doubt that I would not be able to do it if I had a wife and kids. I would probably be stuck doing manual labor for the rest of my life, just to keep everyone fed and happy. Story 12. It is disappointing. I was engaged a few years ago, but it did not work out. I had to sell our place, and now I am back in an apartment and worried about finding a life partner. I have been seeing someone over the last year, but it has not been that serious. I feel like time is slipping away. I am trying to work out, focus on hobbies, spend quality time with family, and do a good job at work. Although I have lots of free time for video games, I would rather be raising kids at this point. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who has commented and provided useful advice or encouragement. I did not know men could be so nice to each other. I feel like we never talk about this stuff. We should care more about our mental health and open up. If you're feeling lonely or sad, please talk about it. Do not keep it inside. Too many men suffer in silence. Story 13. No kids, live alone, girlfriends come and go. Tonight, I'm gonna barbecue some dinner for myself with a beer or two, and then maybe play some video games. Life is amazing. Story 14, 34, and not seeing any signs of change. It's a fine line to tightrope walk between freedom and loneliness. The deafening silence when you get home from work for those few hours before bedtime can be overwhelming at times. As you grow, social groups can shrink as other obligations and responsibilities take hold. The time friends spend doing extracurricular activities for their kids becomes time that you find yourself without anything to do. So you try to find things to fill that space. Story 15, not enjoying it, to be honest. As someone who really wanted to start a family of my own, having not even met anyone yet, it feels like it won't happen. I could obviously end up meeting someone tomorrow, but it's hard to stay positive. Story 16. Utterly alone and devoid of significant sacrifice, I make an effort to make up for it, but I know deep down that I was not supposed to be here. In my heart, I always wanted to be a decent father and husband, just like my dad. I'm not very good at deceiving myself into thinking that this is the best situation and using materialism and hedonism as a diversion. Story 17. I, 34 male, am the happiest I've ever been. I legitimately told a friend tonight that I didn't even realize how happy I could be in life until this year. I'm not saying the single life is for everyone, but if you find yourself here, by choice or not, my main advice is find as many hobbies as you can and don't stop trying new things. In the recent years, I've learned to cook, bake, and make cocktails. I've been reading books, doing crossword puzzles, watching shows, movies, documentaries, docu-series. I started listening to podcasts. I actively go to concerts and shows all the time. I travel abroad 1 to 2 times a year. I'm a foodie who loves new restaurants. I'm very active and constantly trying to do things with friends. I feel so strongly that life is about experiences and trying new things and learning, which I think is why I feel so fulfilled mentally, socially, and creatively. Now, I do understand that I am missing something major by not having a partner and kids, but at the same time, I have the freedom to explore every interest and hobby I could imagine. I am constantly trying new things, and some don't stick, like for me painting, drawing, rock climbing, skiing, and so much more. But the fact that I tried is more than I could have hoped for. I will say, if a relationship happens, I'm all in for giving it a try. But a relationship and family are not the indicators of a successful life, and not my main goal in life anymore. My second piece of advice for single people: be intentional about your home and space. Your home should be the place you crave to be, the place you are excited to return to, the place you think about when you meditate. I've spent a considerable amount of time, money, and effort making my apartment into an amazing space. It's changed my view of being by myself and what time alone could be. Don't take your surroundings for granted. In the end, being single is not sad. Being single is not a bad thing. Being single does not reflect negatively on you, your life, or your future. Story 18. You can't do everything you want to do. There's just not enough time and not enough you. No wife and kids? Cool, then you have time to do all the activities you want, and you don't have the constraint of other people's wants and needs weighing on you. But that means you don't get to have the super deep spouse and children connections and dependencies that create bonds that become part of your self-identity. Those things can be super fulfilling. On the other hand, if you're married with kids, you have no time for all the other stuff, and your life is no longer 100% yours to control, and that can suck. The trade-off is you get those soul-deep connections that we, as higher reasoning apes, are kind of hardwired to seek and feel fulfilled by. No one is 100% happy all the time. They might never waver in their choice, but that doesn't mean there aren't moments when they yearn for the perks of the opposite lifestyle. I'm super happy with my choice in this regard, but at least once a week, I wish I could jump to the alternate reality where I live the opposite lifestyle for like 24 hours just because there's fun stuff over there also. Story 19. I can do whatever I want, but I am lonely. I want a wife and a family. My girlfriend of 4 years and I just broke up 2 months ago. So joining the dating scene at 32 doesn't sound like it's gonna be fun. Story 20. Honestly, ups and downs. I have the ability to do what I want whenever I want. I can save easily or buy whatever I feel like. Spend time with whomever I want without guilt or time constraints. Sometimes I feel lonely and wish for someone to be there, but after a while I remember how exhausting relationships are, how much constant work they require to always feel not good enough anyway. Then I carry on. I haven't needed a woman in 6 years. Story 21. I love it. It is not for everyone, but I also do not think it is that different from people who are married with children. I can occasionally feel lonely, but no more than I hear friends and family who are married feel lonely. Things can feel mundane, but not more often than I hear others expressing those same feelings. Basically, it is just a different brand of living, but it still has the same basic pros and cons. They just look different. Story 22. Cycling, gym, cooking, hiking, painting, freelance graphic design, starting brewing beer at home this summer, video games, hosting friends over for drinks and board games, house projects, landscaping. Don't let anyone make you feel you need a wife or kids of your own to have self-worth. Story 23. I've gotten really good at Slay the Spire. There's no way I would be able to do as many runs of that as I have if I had to devote time and care to the physical and emotional well-being of my child. I can raise a family or I can kill the corrupt heart on Ascension 20. There's not enough time to do both. Story 24. Right out of college, I chose to be a live-in caregiver to my grandma for 4 years. Felt like I was single parenting for a while. Now that I'm on to the next chapter of my life, I find myself enjoying not being responsible for another life, but still find myself planning my days like I have to be home to look after the house at night. Grandma had dementia. I was constantly in fear she would go on an adventure. I keep reminding myself someday I'll be ready to take on that parent or spouse role, but for now, I'm still making up for those years of living in Grandma's basement. Story 25. Peaceful. Honestly, it is so peaceful. No stressful finances because of children, no running around doing unnecessary things on weekends for children, no need to be home at certain hours, not answerable to anyone. My life, my way. It is so peaceful. Story 26. Do not just settle ever. It will be infinitely worse than being alone. Also, whatever happens, do not even think of getting married again until your mid-30s. In my opinion, your 20s are not marriage years. Story 27. Here in my 60s, it has been the best one yet. In my 30s, it was amazing. In my 40s, I was loving it more, and my 50s kept getting better and better. I don't know what my 70s will be like, but I have a feeling it will be awesome. The worst time of my life was my childhood, where I got bullied a lot, followed by my teens, where I was depressed and suicidal. Then came my 20s, where I worked incredibly hard and barely had a life. I really hated my life in my 20s. But now I love my life. I've made so many friends and strong relationships that only time can build. You cannot speed up time in the microwave or push a button to have what I have. It takes time. So use your time wisely and make good friends. Lots and lots of them. There are billions of people on this planet. So get to it and stop being a stick in the mud. Story 28. And when nobody wakes you up in the morning, and when nobody waits for you at night, and when you can do whatever you want, what do you call it? Freedom or loneliness? I call it freedom. Happy? Not really. Peace? Absolutely. Story 29. My life is peaceful, just the way I like it. I am 35, no kids, never married. Had only a handful of actual relationships, and that is it. Currently not looking for a partner. I have friends to keep me company and a pet cat. That is more than enough for me. I never wanted kids or to get married since I was a teenager. Seems so stressful to me. Maybe because I am more of an introvert. I am very happy and definitely the happiest out of my friend group. They have kids and are in relationships. At this point in life, I do not ever see myself getting into a serious relationship or living with someone else. I would hate it. I am a free bird just doing what I want, when I want. Story 30. I am honestly at a fantastic point in my life. I started a new job with a retirement plan. Am eating healthy and working out, focusing on my hobbies with my limited free time, and enjoying being able to live life how I want. I live alone, and the loneliness creeps in sometimes. I find it quite hard to date due to my location and the lack of a social gathering space, and it can be overwhelming having to rely solely on myself, but I think I am happy. Could certainly be worse, so I am grateful to be where I am for now. Story 31. I am struggling to cope with severe loneliness right now. I have been lonely for several years with the need to vent to someone, but I am afraid of sharing my true feelings, emotions, and thoughts because of the fear of frightening the other side.